let me ask Comptroller Otting and Vice Chair Quarles, with a simple yes or no, if you can answer it. If any congressional committee subpoenaed you for information on Deutsche Bank or Capital One, would you comply?
I'd have to talk with our lawyers. We have worked well with the committee over the past. I realize this isn't a yes or no, but if it's legal, of course we would comply.
I would echo Randy's comments. We'd have to consult our counsel.
Do financial institutions have to consult with you before complying with congressional subpoenas?
Well, I believe, I'm looking back at our general counsel, I mean, we do have limitations on the ability of financial institutions to share confidential supervisory information with anyone, and so I would expect, I don't know if they're legally required, but I would expect that they would prudentially want to talk to us before sharing what they might think was confidential supervisory.
What about of non-confidential supervisory information?
I don't think that we would require them to talk to us before sharing information that wasn't CSI.
So,
It's the same answer if it's non-CSI.
aside from steps to protect confidential supervisory information, does not complying with congressional subpoenas create legal risk for banks?
It's been 20 years since I practiced as a lawyer, but I would think that they ought to think about that question, yes.
I agree. I agree with the answer.
Okay. Well, the reason I ask you is because last month the House Financial Services and Intelligence Committee subpoenaed both of these entities for records relating to President Trump's businesses as part of their congressional duty to conduct oversight and investigate potential money laundering and foreign influence in U.S. political processes. And now the courts are being used to try to stop the banks from complying with that subpoena. I just want to make it very clear from my perspective, having served in both houses, there should be no doubt about this. Banks and regulators have no excuse not to comply with a congressional subpoena. Protecting subpoena power is critical so that Congress can exercise its constitutional responsibility of oversight so we can learn the truth and ultimately make policy choices to safeguard our economy and our country. And I hope that that's the way, if you are called upon, that you will act appropriately. Comptroller Otting, in a hearing last year before the House Financial Services Committee, you refused to give a straight yes or no answer when asked if you believe discrimination exists in America today. So now that you have read the public comments on your CRA proposal, including those by Unidos, the NAACP, state affiliates like New Jersey Citizen Action, do you now believe that discrimination exists in America?
So, Senator Menendez, that was not my response.
No,
my
give me your
response was
now.
that I did not personally observe that. I also would...
But you don't have to observe it to believe that discrimination exists in America.
And
so I ask you the question again, does discrimination exist in America
The other response that I gave
today?
was that my in-laws are all first-generation Hispanic people in this community. Other friends of mine who are from the black community will tell me it exists and they've experienced it. And so, yes, I do believe it exists in America.
Thank you very much. I'm glad we've gotten to that far. Chair McWilliams and Vice Chair Quarles, because the Community Reinvestment Act is at its core a civil rights law, will you commit to getting the support of the civil rights community before issuing a final rulemaking on the CRA?
Well, I'll take that first. We're certainly, the process that we're undergoing is to ensure that we have input from the civil rights community, and they've been very supportive of our looking at making this regulation more effective. I think that we've received a lot of support from community organizations, including civil rights organizations generally, about ways in which this regulation can be improved.
And I can attest, Senator, that as I travel to different states, I try to meet with the consumer groups, especially in places where they're very active, to solicit their feedback on any of the LMI community needs, as well as what needs to be done for the CRA purposes. So I have met with a number of CDFIs and CDCs to make sure that they get, that their input is heard.
I appreciate both of your answers, but could you envision passing a rule where the civil rights community in unity was against the rule?
If there were unity of of the affected communities in opposition to a rule, I think that would be surprising for us to approve a rule.
But if it happened, could you envision adopting such a rule?
I have worked on some of the rulemakings in the past, and I have. It's almost never in unity that one part of the industry or consumer community responds. So it's a hypothetical, but I would imagine if there's a strong opposition, we would make amends to the rule.
Well, I hope you'll
to
come
address
up with a
that.
rule that ultimately has the support of the civil rights community. If not, I'll be looking forward to engaging you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.